Hey, welcome to Lead Up Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Harbour. This is episode 440, and today we're going to talk about the power of 90 days. We equip leaders like you with strategies to grow elite teams, retain top talent, and unlock your organization's full potential. I'm really excited to be here with you today. If you're a returning listener, thanks for continuing to tune in to the Lead Up Podcast. As I always ask, leave us a review. That really helps us get more momentum, and it allows you to be a legacy builder where you help others in the marketplace that really want to learn and need to learn some of the things that we teach here on the Lead Up Podcast. I want you to picture this. A new hire joins your team, and they're excited, they're motivated, they're ready to make an impact. They're also nervous, by the way, but without clear structure, that enthusiasm starts to fade. They begin to feel overwhelmed, disconnected, or worse, unsure if they made the right choice by joining your team, your organization, your leadership. How do you make sure that doesn't happen? Before I teach you those things, which we're going to get into in today's episode, I want you to understand, people make a decision within the first 24 to 48 hours of whether they made the right decision, whether you're the right team, whether they will give you their best or not. Now, the unfortunate thing is they may make the decision that this was not the right team or company for them, but they may stay with you for weeks, months, or even years, and you grow frustrated as a leader to try to get the best out of them, to activate their full potential. What am I talking about, this 90 days, the power of 90 days? It's the power of 90 days of activation. What you call onboarding in your organization, we call activation here at Harbour Resources. And in my book, if you're watching on YouTube, here's a copy of my book. If you're listening, Quit Losing Talent, the expanded edition. You can go find it on Amazon and buy a copy of it. I'm going to share some things with you, but you'll get more in the book. And even if you're more interested, you can go to my website, harborresources.com. Lots of free tools there with you for you as well. So today we're going to talk about steps to help you transform your onboarding or activation process. I'm going to walk you through actionable strategies to design an onboarding process that accelerates, activates full potential, productivity, builds engagement, and ensures long-term commitment, long-term engagement. And I'm pulling these right out of my book, Quit Losing Talent. Why is the first 90 days important? Before I jump there, I want to share this with you. One of the things we have to do is we have to quit allowing our more seasoned, more tenured employees to run people off, to bully people, to say, well, I had to learn it the hard way, so they should too. Or I'm not going to be friends with them until I know they're going to stay with me. Look, I've heard all of these things, and it's a sad state of affairs. We also, as a leader and as a company, we have to quit treating people like they're doing us a favor. We're doing them a favor. I'm sorry. They're actually doing us a favor. You need people. You need talent. People that you hire are doing you a favor as a leader. The marketplace is tight today. To find great people is really hard to do. And oftentimes I've seen leaders do this, like they hire somebody and they act like they're doing that person a favor because they hired them, they gave them a job. Now, it's really a symbiotic relationship. Sure, you're doing them a favor, but only if you're a great leader, only if you're creating an environment where they can excel, only if you're activating the full potential of what you hired them to do. Here's some research for you that I think is vital for you to understand. 58% of people are more likely to remain with a company after 3 years if there was a structured onboarding activation process during those first 90 days. And here's a real kicker for you. Their productivity increases by over 70%. Now, if I were in a live room with you, I would ask you to raise your hand if getting 70% more production out of your team would be important to you. I think it's vital. If you could get 70% more out of the production, the efficiency, the effectiveness, the engagement of your team, would that not make you and your leadership role much easier, make you happier, you sleep better at night. The first 90 days determines whether an employee feels like a part of the team or just a name on the payroll. It's vital. And I'm a believer that the first 90 days begins the day you hire them, the day you make the offer, the day that they say yes to you. That's when that clock begins. If you read in my book, I teach a tactic of mastering the welcome, and that's not what this podcast is about. I've recorded on that. You can go back into the archives and just search Master the Welcome, and you'll find that podcast, or buy a copy of the book. You'll learn how to do that. It's a vital component to begin to build trust with those new individuals. And that's really what we're after in that first 90 days. We want to build trust. We want to build respect. We want to get them off the runway. We want to ease their anxiety. People are anxious when they change a new job. They don't know anyone. They don't know you. They don't know your company. They're questioning whether they made the right choice or not, because they do have choices in the marketplace. So a comprehensive 90-day activation plan ensures that your new hires feel welcome, supported, and prepared. It shows them that they matter from day one. And this type of investment, I call it ROTI, return on time invested. If you put time into their first 90 days, you're going to get a massive return on that time that you've invested in them. And their success builds the foundation for an engaged, high-performing team member who knows they're aligned with the bigger mission. They're a part of the team. We made them feel important. Effective onboarding isn't just for the employee, though. It's a game changer for your team, your culture, and your bottom line, which you're responsible for, by the way, as a leader. If you're a leader, I don't care if you're a manager, supervisor, you're responsible for a bottom line of whatever area. You have to act like the CEO of that little area, and who you hire matters. It impacts the expense line or the return on investment line. So I want you to really understand that. Let's talk about some steps to help you build that 90-day plan. Something that you want to implement immediately. Now, I'm a believer this should be a written plan. It should be on paper, not in your head. It should be more than just a checklist. And I'll get into that in just a minute. It should be something that you can hand the employee on their first day of employment and say, hey, Mike, here are the things that you're responsible for learning over the next 90 days. But these are also the things, Mike, that I'm responsible for making sure that you learn, for teaching you, for coaching you, for developing you, helping you feel supported to learn those things. So it's a both and. It's not just the new employee. It's a leadership responsibility to make sure that they learn everything on that 90-day plan so that we get them off the runway. If we don't do that, if they learn bad habits, or if they bring bad habits with them from a former workplace, and we don't install new habits, install new behaviors, install new ways, your way, your company way, into the way they perform in that first 90 days, you're going to spend the next 5 years or however long they stay with you trying to fix them. So let's look at stage one, what I call pre-boarding, setting the stage. It starts long before day one. Pre-boarding is your chance to create excitement and confidence about joining your organization. And again, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but we teach a tactic called mastering the welcome. We want to send them something in the mail, a welcome package. I recommend sending them a welcome letter, maybe a company t-shirt, something that excites them, that makes them feel like they're a part of your team. A personalized letter from you. Include your cell number. Maybe even include the schedule of their first week. Let them know, hey, I'm going to meet you in the parking lot on day one. I'm going to meet you at the front door, wherever it's going to be. Don't let them wander around and try to find you on day one. Prepare, if they have an office, prepare their workspace. Or if it's a virtual setting, make sure they've got everything they need before day one to kind of get set up. Let's not waste day one trying to get them set up, ready to go. Make sure they've connected with IT and get all those resources set up before that 8 a.m. start time and date. Make sure they know there's two people I talk about in the activation process: a stay ambassador, that's going to be you, and a stay navigator. Make sure they understand who their stay navigator is. Make those introductions before day one. Prepare your stay navigator. And again, you can learn more about that in my book or even in some other podcasts that we've recorded. That's not the purpose of today's lesson. And then we want to share the vision and values early. You should have done that during the interview process. You should have talked about vision and vision of their role and how this role is going to help your team and how this role is going to help them grow. You need to be talking about your values and what's expected of the values and how to live those out and the behaviors and how you hold your team members in alignment with those. But you revisit those on day one and day two and day three. We'll talk more about that as we go forward. Here's what we need to understand. First impressions are never made on the first day. They start the moment the offer is accepted. Maybe even during the interview process. But truly, if we make promises, if we share things during that interview process, as soon as we make that offer, they're evaluating their decision. We want to make sure we prevent any buyer's remorse of that decision. So first week is going to look something like this. You're going to a warm welcome on day one, not just by you, but by some key people. Their stay navigator, other team members that can make that are, like, you've got some superstars on your team. They need to meet the superstars. Your stay navigator, and I talk about this in my book, it needs to be your best employee. It needs to be the one that lives out the values the best and performs their job duties the best. Not the one that has the most time, not the ones that's the laziest. Because look, we want to have them repeat good habits, not poor habits. So make sure your A player, your top talent. Now, they need to be a good teacher. They need to be patient. All of those things are very important. They need to obviously have a company orientation. They need to know how to get around the building. Most of my work is done in the hospital space. Hospitals are massive. Show them all the doorways, the stairwells, the easiest way to get to and from the parking lot, where the best place to clock in, how to get to the cafeteria. All of those things that are important that they would need to know. How to get to HR. What's the quickest route? How to get to their department easiest. And then we talked about signing a mentor, that stay navigator. This is a peer level guide. This person that locks arms with that new employee, can answer questions, can guide the 90-day plan, can make sure that employee moves from a place of novelty or novice, like knowing nothing about the organization, through growing into mastery. Look, the goal for you in your 90-day plan, it should be to move that new employee from a place of novice into mastery, meaning they can function at a grade of 70 or 80 and above. They're not just kind of still learning. They're learning your way, and they can do some things without us holding their hand. Now, that doesn't mean we don't continue to check in even after their 90 days. We should be coaching them monthly, training and develop them, which is after month one or month one through 3, we move into that monthly coaching. But in the first 90 days, it's daily. Like, you've got a navigator, and then as a stay ambassador, you're checking in with them weekly. But these phases should be moving from orientation into integration, right? Helping them integrate into a fully contributing, full potential team member, contributor. So we should provide the tools necessary to do that. If you don't have those, ask for those. Get those. Ask your leader to help you make sure that we do the things that are important. We need to set small goals for them. SMART goals, if you've ever heard that term. What are the specific things they need to align up with week 1? Make sure they're achievable. Make sure we can track them. Like, your stay navigator should be able to track, not just say, yeah, I taught them that. See, here's where a lot of 90-day plans mess up. We teach them some, we show them some, but they're still at that novelty stage. Mastering is we teach them, we let them do it a few times, and then we let them teach us. Now, if they can teach us, they've mastered it. And your stay navigator, part of that 90-day plan should be for them to be able to teach it back to us in that first 90 days. And we should be able to check off, yes, they've mastered that. Or maybe they're still in growing phase, but they're 80% there. They're not ready to leave the onboarding or activation plan, first 90 days. They're not ready to leave that if they haven't mastered everything that must be mastered in that first 90 days. Now, certainly there's things they're going to have to learn over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on the level of expertise that's required in the role that you're hiring them for. But there are certain things, specific things you need them to master. And maybe one of those is how to answer the phone. This is how we do it here. Maybe one of those is how to show up on time, how to wear the uniform, if a uniform is required. Like, there's simple things I certainly understand. How to log into the computer, how to shut down the computer when they walk away from it so nobody can access private company information. There's a lot of things we need them to master. And then we need to celebrate little milestones along the way, like celebrate with them that they're doing a great job, maybe weekly, bi-weekly, but at a minimum monthly. And then at their 90-day mark, let's celebrate, hey, you have mastered our 90-day activation plan. We celebrate you. We all come around you as a team, and we're here to make sure the next 90 days and the next 90 days and the next year after that, we're going to help you be successful. What if all teams did that? What if we celebrated these small wins with people? Quit Losing Talent makes it clear that the top reason employees leave within the first 90 days is a lack of clarity in their role. Frustration. No one wants to do a poor job. Everybody wants to do a great job. But when we don't help them succeed, they feel undervalued. And then they just self-extract. They pull the ejection button. And you as a leader have the power to change that. We have to quit doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. And I'm on a mission to help you do that. Now, I know you say, Mike, we already on board, but are you doing it the way I just taught you? And look, we go much deeper into that in our book and in some of our training programs. I'm simply hitting the highlights here for you today. But I want to challenge you to implement some of these things that we've talked about here today. If you want to get people off of the runway quickly so they can become a great contributor for you, here's one of the biggest mistakes I see leaders make, is we hire people and we just expect them to pick it up through osmosis. I don't care. I'm working with a company right now. They've hired a senior level person. He's been there almost 7 months. He doesn't understand the company enough to do his job yet. There wasn't a great 90-day plan. Now, this is a senior level executive. They expected him just to pick it up. Now, there's certain things he should have done to do that. But there's also certain things the company should have done to make sure that individual was activated, to really understand the key goals and the key ways the company achieves some of the things that they're wanting this individual to achieve. Now, we can blame that on the person that we hired, but at the end of the day, what I teach is, as leaders, we got to look in the mirror first. This is part of that hindsight reflection. We need to look in the mirror and say, okay, where did I do a great job or where did I fail in my responsibility as a leader to make sure every individual I bring onto the team is successful? Think about it like a sports team. If you bring on a new player and you don't teach them how to dribble the basketball, you just expect them to do it, or you expect them to just run plays when you really haven't integrated them into the plays of how the team does it and how their role fits into that, you're going to fail the team. And we often blame that individual, and we just say that individual was lazy, they didn't get it, they weren't committed. My question is how committed were you as a leader? Look, if we want to change the culture of our organization, if you want to be highly successful, an elite leader, look at how you're doing your 90-day activation right now. It's a game changer. Some of the things that I teach, I've helped organizations reduce their turnover by 60%, 70% in just a mere matter of months by implementing some of the things from our Quit Losing Talent framework. 90-day activation, like robust activation. Not just, we pull that, we got this plan. Like, have you even reviewed the plan to see if it still works, see if it still matters? Are we teaching things that don't, do we have, oh, we don't even use that piece of software anymore, but we don't clean up the activation. We don't clean up our onboarding plan. We just keep pulling it out of the drawer and using it over and over again. Well, I might argue that you're expecting different results, but trying to be working through insanity to do that. Look, if you don't invest in growing your new hires, don't be surprised when they outgrow you, or they leave you, or they stay and become disengaged. The first 90 days of onboarding can create the kind of engagement, trust, productivity that lasts 4 years. Just to review some quick steps. Pre-boarding sets the stage for their success and yours, by the way. It's the most important. Those first 90 days are the most important days in their life and your life as it relates to their job that you hired them to do. The first week is all about integrating and connection, making sure they feel welcomed and a part of the team. And in months 1 through 3, we want to focus on growth from novice to mastery, feedback and goal alignment when they get off track. It's like teaching a new driver how to stay between the white and yellow lines. When they start to cross the line, we bring them back. That's what that first 90 days is. We don't just expect them to figure it out on their own. Small things matter. Something as simple as a warm smile, a grateful welcome, a thoughtful check-in, celebrating small wins along the way can make all the difference whether they become a fully integrated contributor to your team or not. So, hey, I hope this episode resonated with you. I want you to share it with your team members. Share it with other leaders in your organization. Leave us a review. Send me an email. Tell me if I'm off base or not. Or if I can help you further, let me know. I do want to challenge you to go get a copy of my book, Quit Losing Talent, the expanded edition. Some great stuff in there. We've got tools and toolkits and tactical things that you can implement based, not in the book, but you have to kind of be part of our community to do that. But you'll get enough in the book that you can implement that. I've got one company, they've bought 90 books for their entire organization, and they're implementing this with effectiveness. I hope you'll do that as well. Hey, leave us a review on your favorite listening platform. Continue to tune in to the Lead Up Podcast. I thank you for being here today. If I can help you in any way, reach out to me, Mike at harborresources.com. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode.